Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's Tuesday, it's 9 o'clock, and I'm going to be doing another video today. And the video today is all on about me being accused of exposing magic on my YouTube channel, and specifically on my review show, which is something that's come up in the last week or so. And I think it's an interesting thing to talk about exposure in magic when it comes to reviews. But also I think it's very important to talk about because I think I need to put my 2 pence worth out there. Now, before I start this video and I explain exactly what's gone on and kind of talk about things from my point of view, I know that there's going to be people that are going to be watching this and they're going to put in the comments, why do you put videos up like this? Why do you put videos up where somebody has a disagreement with you and you put a video up talking about it and defending yourself? Why do you do that? Why don't you just focus on the positivity? Why don't you just focus on the 5x5s? Why don't you just focus on the review shows? And just for anybody that's going to say that, let me explain why I do this. I would much rather put all of the positive videos out. I had an amazing video lined up for today. And I've had to push it back a couple of days. And the reason I've had to push it back a couple of days is because I wanted to address this. Because you see, the thing is, where I come from, your reputation is the most important thing to you. There is nothing more important than your reputation. That's all I've got at the end of the day. I've got my reputation and that's it. And it's even more important for me that I make sure that my reputation is intact, purely because, and let's be honest, let's address the elephant in the room, I got a bit of a checkered past. For many, many years, I would go on the Wizard Product Review, I'd rant and I'd rant and I'd rant, and you know, everybody knows about the Red situation and the team building and being kicked out the Magic Circle and everything that I've done. And you know, Red still rears its ugly head now, despite everything. The first thing that people will bring up is what happened with Red all of those years ago. And I promised myself when I came back to the Magic community, I would try my best to be the best version of me that I can. And do I get things wrong? Absolutely, 100%. Do I apologize when I've got things wrong? Absolutely. I've done entire videos on the biggest mistakes that I've made. I make mistakes all the time. Everyone does. It's human. But the thing is, when you have a magic producer, and that's who we're dealing with here, we're dealing with a magic producer. When you have a magic producer that's literally going on every single forum he can find, saying stuff about you that in your opinion isn't true, that's damaging to my reputation. Now, I've had upwards of 30 or 40 people contact me, people who have been fans of my work, people who I consider friends. And they've come to me over the last few days since this has kicked off and said, Craig, why have you done this? Why have you done this? What's the reason behind doing this? I've just read what you've done and this is terrible. And I'm like, I haven't done anything at all. But the thing is, a lot of people will read the comments that are being made by this person, and we'll get to that in a minute, and they won't do any research into it themselves. They won't look at it and go, well, let's have a look at both sides of things. They just come to the conclusion that I've messed up. And that's damaging my reputation. So yeah, it'd be very easy for me to sit here and not say anything or not put my point of view across and just put another video up about pocket management or something. But that's ultimately not going to let people know who think that I've done what I've been accused of doing. That's not going to change their opinion of me, because they think I've done this based on a few posts by a magic producer. You know, I deliberated over the weekend about what to do about this, and I actually posted in Magicians Only, which is a great Facebook group on Facebook. And I posted in there, and there were a lot of comments, but the very first comment, and thank you for everyone that left a comment, but the very first comment was, I put across my point of view. I said, hey, this is what's happened. This is actually what happened. What should I do about this? And the first person that went on there, the very first comment was, oh, I saw one of the threads about this, and I assumed the worst. Now you're putting your point of view across. I can see that there's no basis in this at all. But that's why I do this. That's why I did a video when Michael Webber basically insinuated that I was going to get cancelled because I needed to see people to see things from my point of view. It's why I did a video when Luke Dancy made up absolute lies about the quantum deck, because I needed to know things from my point of view. Now, when you have all the information, you can decide what you want to do. This isn't going to be a rant video. This isn't me going to be trying to assassinate someone's character at all. I don't do rant videos very often these days. I've kind of transitioned them into the love-hate list. But I think this is a video that needs to be done. So anybody who says, why don't you just be positive? It's easy to be positive. It's easy to be positive. But when your reputation is being affected and you're getting companies that you're working with contacting you saying, is this true? That's when I have to step up and I have to put my side of things across. So what am I talking about? I have a phone. What am I talking about? So I'm talking about Jacob Jr. Now, if you don't know who Jacob Jr. is, he runs Airship, or co-runs Airship Manufacturing, and they produce a whole bunch of stuff. Now, anybody who watches this channel for any length of time will know that a few months ago, me and Jacob had a huge disagreement. I'm not going to dwell on that because that's really not what this is about. I think that that is the catalyst for what's happened, and I'll get into that a little bit later on. But just to catch you up on that, if you didn't see that drama, I bought out at Blackpool this year something called the Apparition coin set, which is now sold out 4 times. It's broken sales records at Alakazam. It's a great trick. It's basically, like a 4 or 5 hour tutorial on multiple routines with a coin purse and a Chinese coin and a silver coin. When it went live, or just before it went live, Justin Miller contacted me and said that he'd bought something out similar, very similar, which he had. And, he'd bought something out on a very limited run. And I immediately made it right with Justin, and we came to an arrangement that he was happy with, even to the point that he included some routines on the project, which was great. And Justin's a stand-up guy. Jacob Jr. owns, or his company Airship Manufacturing owns the rights to the Steve Dushek line. And Steve Dushek created some amazing tricks over the years, including Lethal Tender. And Lethal Tender was the jumping off point for Apparition. Now, Lethal Tender was a different gimmick, and it was in a wallet instead of a purse, and you didn't have 40 or 50 routines with Lethal Tender, and there's a lot of differences. I'm not going to get into it now. But he didn't do what Justin did. He felt the Apparition, even though it was a different thing, it wasn't a wallet, it was a purse, it was a different gimmick. It wasn't, the gimmick that was used in Lethal Tender. It was a completely different gimmick. And there were something like 30 or 40 routines with Apparition as opposed to 1 routine, or 2, I think, with Lethal Tender. He felt that it was too similar to Lethal Tender. I credited Lethal Tender on the project as a source of inspiration when creating Apparition. But he decided to bring out his own trick. He posted on his Facebook page, hey, later this year I'm going to bring out a trick called Aberration. And he posted a picture of a coin purse with a Chinese coin and a silver coin, which I think was not the right way of doing things. And, I got very annoyed about that. And that's the problem. Part of my problem is I do get annoyed about stuff. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Got very annoyed about that he just changed 2 letters in the name of my trick and then said, hey, he's bringing this out a little bit later on, without even seeing the trick or without even knowing the routines that were there or the enhancements or the improvements or anything like that. None of that. He just bought out this and said he was bringing it out. And I think that's where it all started. And we went back and forth for a while. And then a man who I very much respect, Peter Nardi, I was talking to him about it. And he said, Craig, you've said your piece, just drop it. Because Jacob Jr. was also really slagging off Alakazam, saying they sell rip-off products, and which they don't. They buy stuff in off Murphy's, as does every other magic shop in the world. And some of those things that they buy off Murphy's, Jacob Jr. has a problem with. But that's down to Alakazam. That's down to Murphy's. If he's got an issue, contact Murphy's. And contact every other magic shop that sells them, because it's not just Alakazam, it's everybody, because they get them from the same wholesaler. But he was going off against me and Pete. And Pete said, just let it go. You've said your piece. You're not going to get anywhere else with it. And he was right, so I let it go. I completely dropped it, ignored him. I silenced him on Facebook. I didn't block him. I don't tend to block many people or unfriend many people, but I silenced him on Facebook. And that was the end of it as far as I was aware, up until now, up until June, so a few months later. And I started getting a Facebook notification saying, hey, have you seen what Jacob Jr. is saying about you? Have you seen what Jacob Jr. is saying about you? I'm like, no, I haven't seen what Jacob Jr. is saying about you. And people are like, oh no, you don't want to know. I'm like, no, I do want to know. I've got to know. What's he saying about me? And he's unfriended me, which I wasn't aware of, but he's unfriended me. So I can't really see a lot of the stuff that he posts. I can see some of it, but not all of it. But I was sent screenshots by people who I consider friends, which is great. And he said, he put a post up, Jacob Jr. is feeling annoyed. And this was sent to me Saturday morning. Jacob Jr. is feeling annoyed. And I'll tell you exactly what he said. How do you feel about effect being performed, reviewed, and then the workings exposed to the public as part of the review? Craig Petty recently did a review of several TCC magic pieces. He performed them and exposed the workings in depth. One of them was the table. How is this exposure by a so-called professional acceptable? I'll say it again, Craig should know better. He's done the same with an effect called coins in the bottle. He exposed the workings. Please remember the coins in the bottle thing. Please remember that. He's done the same with an effect called coins in the bottle. He exposed the workings. He's talking about the gentleman's magic coin in bottle, right? That's what he's talking about, just to be clear. And I posted a video a little while ago of that coin and bottle routine and explaining how you could use a flipper to create a multi-phase coin to bottle as opposed to a one-phase thing. It's a multi-phase routine. And I posted a video on how you can actually take that. Doesn't really matter, but remember it. Am I wrong for being upset about this? I'd rather have no review by Craig than have methods explained in depth and shown. Now watch a review by Magic Orthodoxy or Unbiased Magic Review. I've never once seen them expose the effect like Craig Petty does. Okay, so that's what he puts. And then there's a ton of comments of people saying, people saying not very nice things about me, as you would expect. If they're friends with Jacob Jr., they're probably not going to be very much liking me. But some of the stuff that he said, let me just read through a couple of the comments. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. Somebody asked, have you brought this up with Craig? Because he never actually brought up the problem with the apparition coin set. He never brought it up. He just posted something online. Same with this. He's never brought up the issue with the review. He's just bought it. Now, I did do a TCC. We'll get into it in a minute. But he said, so someone brought this up with Craig. Craig is a so-called professional, in speech marks, according to himself. He's done this and he's done that. I've never heard so much bragging. And he should know better than exposing effects to the general public. And quite frankly, the more I watch him perform review items, his performance is a below par. He usually flashes and is sloppy. Watch Jay Wang from TCC perform the table, then watch Craig. It's worlds apart. And then later on he says, Craig will no doubt come here with his merry band of mingers. I think anybody who supports me is considered a minger by Jake, and threaten me again like he did before. I don't threaten anyone. I'm more thick. I didn't threaten him, but whatever. I'm more thick-skinned than that. After our last episode, Craig went ranting with Peter Nardi saying we're a rip-off company. That's how Craig and the UK Magic Mafia work. I'm not even aware of the UK Magic Mafia. I never go to the Magic Circle. I'm rarely at the Magic Circle. I don't really even know that many UK magicians. Outside of Alakazam, all the companies I work with are American-based, but okay. He will no doubt try and justify his sloppy performances and exposure. With Craig, nothing is sacred. I've probably started another 45-minute rant on YouTube from Craig again. No, not really. I'm fed up about ranting, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, okay. So there's a lot that's been said, and this was all sent to me, and he brought up the he brought up the review and the coin and bottle thing, and said that my followers are mingers and that I'm not very good at performing and so on and so forth. And I was, at that point, I posted in Magicians Only, or shortly after that, I posted in Magicians Only, trying to figure out what to do about this, to be perfectly honest. I genuinely didn't know what to do about it. I didn't want another fight. I just didn't. I didn't want another fight. But I have to put across my 2 pence worth. And there's a few points that I think that people need to be aware of. Very, very important that people are aware of this, because it's gotten worse, and that's why I'm replying to that. So since then, I've had numerous comments from an account called g.ho on YouTube, various different comments all over my YouTube channel on various different videos, comments from a channel called g.host1193. And the little profile picture that you can see on YouTube is the airship logo. So I'm guessing that's one of Jake's accounts. I know he has a few. And saying stuff like, he posted on one where I was interviewing Dan Rhodes about exposure, and, you know, from months ago, years ago. And he posted, "You should know the answer. You're one of the biggest exposers in magic." And then posted again saying, "Your exposure, how the effect." Oh, on the TCC video, this same account with the airship logo said, "Your exposure of how the effects work are sickening. What gives you the right to expose other people's effects? The likes of you and others like you should be shunned from magic. This isn't a review, it's outright exposure, and you have gotten away with it for far too long," is what he decided to put there. And I was seriously considering leaving this and not even bothering with it. And that was the advice from the Magicians Only group. I decided not to, because again, it's about my reputation, but also he's posting everywhere about this. This isn't just like hey, this is my opinion. He's posting on the YouTube channel, multiple posts. He's posting Facebook, he's posting all over the place. I know from speaking to people, he's personally contacted people about this. But on top of that, he's posting on various different posts on the Magic Cafe. So on the post about the table, because his company manufactures the table and TCC obviously markets it. He posted saying, "TCC will be the only one carrying the table after our last 2 runs sold out. Craig Petty in the UK did a review and blatantly exposed the entire workings of the table, and his review performance gave so much away before he explained how it worked at the end of the performance. He didn't do any justice to TCC or Airship Magic. I am for one fed up with poor flashing performances and exposures of new effects that come out being reviewed by Craig. This is why creators don't want to create and release. How pathetic is this?" But I mean, he's posting on everywhere. He's posting in as many different places as he can. So there's a post on Facebook about on the Magic Cafe about ethics in magic. Nothing to do with this subject. And he's just posted in there saying, "Save yourself some time and money. Simply go to YouTube and jump on Craig Petty's channel. He exposes everything quite blatantly when he reviews. I don't see how someone can expose other creators' effects and be a VIP on the cafe. And then he has the stones to do a 45-minute rant on exposure when he's one of the biggest on YouTube. Craig should have stayed under the rock he was hiding under for all of those years." This has now gotten very personal. This is not somebody who's got an opinion. He hasn't even reached out to me. He hasn't even spoken to me. He hasn't rung me and asked me to take the review down. He hasn't done any of that. He's posting everywhere and anywhere, basically saying that I should leave magic. And his followers are saying some very, very mean things. I've been called the cancer of magic several times, a bottom feeder, disgusting, despicable. I could read some of the comments out in various different places he's posted that aren't very nice at all. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. You now know exactly what this is all about. Let's talk about it. So first of all, I bought those tricks from TCC. I bought them. I spent my own money on them. I bought about $300 worth of stuff from TCC. The irony is, this is one of the irony, I don't know if he talks to TCC, but the irony is, after I did the TCC review, TCC contacted me and asked me if they could send me other products to review. Because this didn't get a bad review. He's talking specifically about the table here. This did not get a bad review. I think I gave it 97%. It got a good review. So the irony here is TCC, who are the company producing this, or he's manufacturing at TCC, but I don't know the difference. But they gave it a good review. I gave it a good review, and they contacted me and said, "Hey, please, can we send you some more stuff to review? That would be amazing." And also, I know I've had beef with Airship. In the initial review, it would have been very, very easy for me not to bother to review the table. I knew that it was Airship that reviewed the table. I knew it was that produced the table, but I did the review. I referenced Airship, didn't slag anybody else, and just gave the review as it is. Like the history between me and Jacob, I just left it alone. But let's talk about the review, because the big crux here is that the review of the table, I blatantly exposed it, and I did a terrible performance. So we're going to talk about that. But first of all, if you haven't seen the review, I'm going to play the review for you on the table. So rather than like he said, she said, you see exactly what the review is that he's talking about. So I'm going to play the review right now of the table that I posted on the TCC video a few weeks ago. You can have a look at that and then come back here and I'll talk to you about what I said. Okay, so the final product that we're going to be looking at today from TCC Magic is the table by TCC and Airship Magic Manufacturing. So what's the table? What is the table? Well, the table, simply put, is TCC's version of David Roth's table. So what is David Roth's table? Well, David Roth's table is a beautiful routine. Now, I haven't spoken much about the table on this channel, but it's one of David Roth's most loved routines that he has performed many, many times. I got the chance to see this live many years ago. And the original David Roth routine was that you got and I remember trying to make this up back in the day. I remember going to Doll's House shops to try and make this up and failed miserably, because the original write-up for this said what you need to do is you need to get a Doll's table and you need to get yourself some magnetic rubber, and you stick the magnetic rubber onto the other side of the table, and that means that you can take a magnetic coin and it'll stick to the table. Nice in theory, and I'm sure, well, I saw Roth do it and it worked when Roth did it. Unfortunately, I could never seem to make it work for me, ever. It just didn't work. And I bought loads of different rubber and loads of different magnetic rubber and loads of different tables, and none of it just worked. None of it worked. And I shelved it for a very, very long time until this came out, and this is killer. So what they've done is TCC, and they've done this in conjunction with Airship Manufacturing, and I think it's because the way that they've actually done this, Airship have the rights to it. I'm not too sure, I think so. But what they've done is they've built a slot box into this table. So you can literally have the table examined, and you can have 4 coins, and you can literally, or they use 3 coins, but whatever, 3, 4, doesn't really matter. You can put the coins on the table, move the table, and then you can take the coins, and one at a time you can drop them right through the table, which looks amazing. In fact, if you want to know how amazing it looks, you're about to find out. Let's have a look at a performance. Cool. I'm going to perform it to Jack. How are you doing, Jack?
That's a very small table.
It is a very small table, and this is a very big table. There is a size difference. It's not an illusion. That is small, this is big.
Father, son.
Yes, right. I also have 3 coins. 3 coins, a table, and this is a tablecloth, because every good table needs a tablecloth.
Nice.
We're going to come back to the tablecloth in a bit. We're going to get back to the table in a bit. First of all, there's a reason I brought this table along with me. And the reason is there's a classic of Magic, which I know you've seen me do before, called the coins through the table. Let's just put this to one side for a second. The idea of the coins through the table is very simple. You put coins through a table. Now, it looks like this. If I took the 3 coins and I tell you where it's going to go through, it's going to go right here, and I do this, and the first coin goes through. I mean, that's pretty impressive, right? Nice. That's the first coin right through the solid table. Now, you didn't know what was going to happen, so I'll do it again. 1 coin goes under the table. This time we'll use this one. I just do that, and the second coin goes right through the table. Now, that leaves us with 1 on top and 2 underneath. Last one, 2 underneath, 1 on top. Last one goes long distance. You do this, and it goes through, you see, and that's all 3. Now, there is a problem with that trick, Jack, and the problem, very, very simply, is you didn't know what I was doing underneath the table. I could have been, when I put my hand under the table, I could have been doing anything.
That's scary.
Well, exactly, yeah. So, I brought this little table along with me. And the reason for the little table is because using the little table, you can see the coins, whether they're on top or underneath. You can see everything at the whole time. So if I'm able to do it with the small table, it'll look more impressive because my hand's not going out of sight. So watch the 3 coins, watch the table. I'm going to repeat the trick. I just do this, and the first coin goes right through the solid table. You see, that's 2 there, that's 1 there. That's the first coin that's gone right through the solid table. I think that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty
Went right through the solid table. Now I'm going to do it again for you. You didn't ask, but I'm going to. Watch. That's number 1 here. This is the first one. This is number 2. That's the second one. Listen to this. Watch this. If I do this, that's the second one right through the table. Right there. That's the second one. Leaves us with 1 last coin, which is going to magically penetrate right through the table, Jack. I want you to watch. We have a table. I'm going to go very, 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 very slowly, Jack. I'm going to make sure I don't cheat. Watch the final coin, Jack. 1, 2, 3, right through the solid table, Jack. That's 1, 2, 3 coins through a solid table. Jack, I'm pretty sure you'll agree that that is a miracle.
That is pretty good.
But when I do this, people turn around to me and say, Craig, because that's my name. They say, Craig, what's the tablecloth for? When I do this, Jack, people turn around to me and they say, Craig, what's the tablecloth for?
You wanted me to ask that question?
Sometimes when I do this, Jack, people turn around to me and they say, Craig, what's the tablecloth for?
Craig, what's the tablecloth for?
I'm glad we got there in the end. Well, the tablecloth's very important. It allows you to focus right here. I want you to watch. Yeah, we're going to do something with the small table. We're going to do something with the big table. This hand goes underneath. Watch the small table. Watch the big table. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Because for the big finish, instead of pushing the coins through the table, Jack, I will take the table and push the table right through the table. That's the table through the table. And Jack, that is a miracle with a table, some coins, and nothing more than a tablecloth. One's fallen on the floor. Don't worry about that. So that's a performance of the table. Now, that's not the Roth original. That's the TCC version, but the slot box makes it so much better, in my opinion, because there's many different ways now that you can load that coin into position. You can do it the original way that Roth talked about, absolutely, and do kind of a shuttle pass style thing. But the guys at TCC have come up with a beautiful way of loading it, as you just take the coins off the top of the table. So you can bring the table out, have it examined, bring the coins out, have them examined, put them on the table, and talk about the coins through the table plot, and then take the coins off, and one at a time, you're just going to drop them right through the table. And the nice thing is they talk about 3 or 4 different moves. They teach some exceptional coin moves on here as well. Some beautiful click passes, like some really beautiful click passes that they teach using the muscle pass. But they go through absolutely everything. And what's nice about the tutorial is they go through lots of different options with each phase and lots of different moves in order to accomplish the coins through the table plot, which means that you can basically create your own routine. So you can do it however you want to do it. If you want to do it the way they suggest doing it, you can. If you want to substitute the way that the routine works and go with different ideas that they've presented, you can. It's completely up to you. But the whole idea is that you can do a coins through the table with this, and it's very, very clean. Now you also get this, which is like a tablecloth for the table. And the point of the tablecloth is at the end, you can pick up the table, pick up the tablecloth, and you can drop the table through the tablecloth. Now, in order to do that, I will tell you right now, you're going to have to do some lapping, which is not commercially viable for most magicians. However, you don't have to do that finale if you don't want to. If you don't want to do that, don't let the fact that this requires lapping put you off. Because the routine itself with the table is actually really commercial. Yet it's a fairly big table and would be ideal for a close-up show or a parlor show or something like that. But for sure, you could keep this in your pocket if you wanted to, if you really wanted to make a feature of this. But you can do this anytime, anywhere. There's not really any angle issues to consider. You could even go so far as to have them put their hand out like that. And as long as your audience management was good, you could actually do it in a walk around situation. That would be fine. To do the actual coins through the table, it's super commercial. Super commercial, no angle issues, relatively easy to do, fine. It's this that becomes very unpractical. So just miss that section off. But then you're thinking, well, hang on, I need a finale. Yeah, you probably do need a finale. How about putting the coins through the table and then saying, you know what, the problem is, maybe you think this is a special table. So I'm going to put that away, and instead, I'm going to put the coins through this table. This can't be a special table. You've been sitting at this table for the last couple of hours. I'm going to push this coin through the table. I'm going to take the coins and put them through this table one at a time. And then you go into whatever coins through table that you want to do. And this becomes a lead-in to that coins through table. Now, obviously, in an ideal world, you'll want to use this. You don't have to. As I say, don't let the fact that this is slightly impractical for most real-world situations put you off. Because this is a really well-made prop. It's very well designed. I love the idea of putting a slot box into this table. That's genius as far as I'm concerned. And the table looks legit as well. It looks great. I've always loved David's original version. Tried to make it for years, wasn't able to do so. I'm definitely going to do this. The tutorial is exceptional. It's one of the best tutorials I've ever seen, despite not having a live performance. I think that this will be very, very well received by audiences. I think it looks good. I think it will play really well. And it just looks class as well, doesn't it? So I'm going to give this 97%. I think this is great if you're a coin worker out there and you want to do something that's a little bit different to anything else out there, then this is definitely one to go for. It would be the best trick out this bunch if it wasn't for the fact that that ball and vase is just next level. But still, it's very, very good. It's a well-made prop, and I'd highly recommend it. So that's the review. There were 3 elements to the review. There was a bit of talking at the beginning, then you had the performance, and then you had a bit of talking at the end, right? So, first of all, in the talking at the beginning, I talked about the original, and my point of view with a review is that people need to have as much information that they can have in order to make an informed decision as to whether they purchase this product or not. So the first thing that I wanted to do when I reviewed the table was talk about how it wasn't the original David Roth method. And I spent years trying to make that David Roth method up and couldn't. And I wanted to talk about that on the review because I wanted people to know that A, this is not an easy thing to make up, and B, the original method, if you've ever seen the original Roth method is not what we have here. So I talked about how the original Roth method used a magnet and there was magnets in place. I didn't expose it. I didn't pull out a sheet of magnet and say, hey, this is exactly how it works. You put this here, you do that. I just said, hey, this is what the original method was. That allowed me to then say, this is a different method. And what I said in the review is I said, this is like a slot box. Now, I specifically used the term slot box for a couple of different reasons. One of the reasons was it allowed me to put across the gimmick without actually really specifically getting in depth about the gimmick. I basically said they've built kind of like a slot box into this table, which allows them to use regular coins and do it in a completely different way. Now, maybe that's considered exposure. I don't think it is. It's not like I'm opening up the table and I'm taking a coin and I'm saying, right, you put this here, you do this, that's when it works, this is the move. That's exposure. I'm not doing that. I'm saying it's like a slot box, and people might be going, well, Craig, that's giving too much away. Now they know how it works. Other than the fact, if you look at the actual ad copy on the TCC website, which I will read to you, this is the ad copy off the TCC table, off the TCC website. I went and got it exactly as is. So they say, after a year of prototyping and testing, we've produced what we believe to be the most delicate and practical coin table available, the table. The difference from the original version in the Roth book and the table is a slot version that is better known today. The most important feature in the slot version is that it does not require gaffed coins and can be performed with ordinary coins, making the handling more simple and more casual. It was originally designed by Mark Tinglehast, that passed on to Chaz Magic and the well-known craftsmanship of RNT2, and now belongs to the Airship Magic manufacturing. So they use the term slot version in the ad copy. So I said it's like they've built a slot box into the table, and they talk about the slot version on the TCC website. So I can't see how that is considered exposure when I'm basically just using the same terminology that the actual company that's putting this to market uses on their own website. So that's the first thing. Then I go into a performance. And briefly we'll talk about performance. Look, here's the thing. I believe that when a magic reviewer reviews products, they should make an effort to perform the trick to the best of their ability. Because that shows a few things. It shows that you've actually learnt the trick. Because if you're performing the trick, it means that you've learnt it. It means that you've watched the tutorial. I know that there's reviewers out there that don't bother learning the trick. They watch the first 10 minutes of the tutorial, they skip through the rest, they watch the last couple of minutes, and then that's it. And then they talk about it, and it's the easy approach. I learn everything. And every week I'm performing about 10 new tricks, because we do 4 or 5, normally 5 on the Craig and Ryland review show. Then, depending on what we're reviewing on the review show special, we'll do maybe 2, 3, 4 there. And then there's normally something else that I've learned to review, like a mat test or something like that. But there's normally about 10 new products that I have to learn every week on top of everything else that I do. Is every performance going to be flawless? Absolutely not. But go back and look at my reviews. You're telling me that I flash on every single performance. Now that might happen occasionally because maybe I haven't got it, because I've not. A lot of the time when I'm reviewing these products and I'm performing it, I've never performed it before. I'm performing it for the first time, and I'll do a couple of takes to make sure it's right. But I'd rather do that and let people see an unedited performance than just half-ass the review. Now, in terms of the review of the TCC table, I started off by doing a coins through table. I used the Pat Page coins through table, which I thought was fine. I then did the coins through table itself. Now, I didn't flash, as far as I can see. What I did do, and I'll tell you this right now, what I did do is I found it very difficult to get the table to do what it needs to do 100% of the time. It was just very unreliable, and I put it down to user error, because sometimes I was making it work, sometimes I wasn't making it work, and I knew I wanted to put this review up. So what I did, I do what I always do with magic, which is I find a workaround that suits me better. And how I did it to make it work better for me is one of the moves that they teach I didn't use, and I actually covered that in the review. And I used the other move 3 times. And what I did is when I took the coins out, I laid the table on the side, and then I tilted it up like that. Now that made it easier for me to do. I've since performed this at a couple of gigs, and I've used that approach, and people have absolutely loved it, and there's not been an issue at all. But for me, laying the table out on its side like that, and then showing the other coins and putting them down, and then laying the table up, for me, that was a better way of doing it. Now, maybe Jacob means that, it was a terrible performance because I wasn't doing it the same way as the guy on the tutorial. And no, I wasn't. He says, look at his performance compared to mine. Yeah, he's been doing it for years. That was my very first time of doing it. But I've got better at it now, but I'm still using that side-on thing because that works for me, because I like to put my own spin on things. I like to try it in different ways. And then I did the vanish of the table, and I don't think there was any problem there. So for him to say that I was flashing and it was a terrible performance, no, it's the best performance I've ever done. No, I'd never done it before, but I think it was perfectly acceptable. I really do. And then I talked about in the tutorial, he teaches a bunch of coin moves, including some really nice versions of a click pass with a muscle pass. I don't think there's anything exposy there. And then finally, I talked about the vanish of the table, or the penetration of the table through the table. And I said that if you're going to do this, you are going to have to be aware that lapping is going to have to happen. You're going to have to do some lapping. Now, I said that because I think that's a very important thing for people to understand. Before they're buying this trick, they need to be aware of any issues that stop this working in a regular performing environment. And I'm sorry, but if something requires lapping, I think that's something that you need to address on the video. Now, I didn't say this is how the lapping works, this is what you do, this is how to lap the thing. I just said that lapping is something that takes place in this product, which it does. I didn't go, right, okay, bring the cameras closer, let's do a full tutorial on how to do this. I didn't do that for anything. I didn't take the table and show how it works or the inner workings of the table or the lapping system. I didn't do that. As far as I'm concerned, that was a legitimate review. Now, Jacob's saying that I'm exposing it for all to see. There's two things that you need to be aware of when it comes to exposure. And the first thing is, who am I exposing it to? He's mentioned a couple of times the general public. Right? He's mentioned a couple of times the general public. And, he's giving away how the trick works to the general public. Well, first of all, if somebody, the general public, sits down to watch a 40-minute review on TCC products, I'm sorry, they're not the general public. They've obviously got some sort of interest in magic. You don't watch one of my videos. I do long-form content for magicians. 70% of it is me talking to camera with the odd trick thrown in there, right? That's what my content is. If you're a layperson looking for secrets, you're not going to go, oh, okay, what's this? TCC review show special? Oh, I'll watch that. Within 5 minutes, all there is talking about stuff they're not going to understand. Do you really think that they're going to watch this video and get 33 minutes in order to watch a review about the table? And if they do that, they obviously have some sort of interest in magic. So I don't think that I'm exposing anything to lay people. There's so many other ways that you wouldn't even find if somebody right. If you're talking about general public here. What would they search to find this video? What would they search? Tutorial, how to do a coin through the table? Try and search that in Google or YouTube and see what comes up. This video won't come up because I set the tags on this video. I know exactly how this will come up. And it will not come up. But YouTube works by an algorithm. If people watch videos about magic and reviews about magic or content about magic, whether that be Magic Orthodoxy, Real Magic Reviews, Tyler Lunsford, whatever, then my videos might be shown. But in order to be at that point, they're going to have watched other videos about magic. This is not exposure to the general public. And if it was exposure to the general public, which it isn't, let me just find this here. If it was exposure to the general public, then so is the Magic Cafe. Because the Magic Cafe is a forum that's completely and totally unprotected. You can go in there, you can search for something, a link will go onto the Magic Cafe and you can read it. And they're more exposed on the Magic Cafe than I am onto YouTube. They get in the latest and greatest forum, they specifically talk about methods. In fact, I've got a clip here, a screenshot here of Jacob in the cafe talking about the barrel vase, I think, which is another prop that I reviewed on the TCC review show special. And somebody posted on there specifically talking about the load of the crystal ball, specifically talking about the vase, the gimmick shell, the frame, the magnet, specifically talking about everything. And Jacob replied to him and said, didn't shout at him. I don't understand why this is a public forum that anyone can visit, and he's been way more exposy about this than I was in my review. So I don't understand why Jacob didn't have a go at him. But he just says, I love collecting vases. I have probably equal cups and balls and vases. I agree with you. The vase I do carry with me the vase that do carry with me that elevates all the issues is the shellless version. I'm doing the Mike Gallo routine. Really, by working with a vase without a shell, you can do just about anything. And then he goes on about, I'm still scratching my head with the barrel vase about why the magnets are in the place they are and why the final load is the way it is and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. He's been very exposy about that. on a forum that the public can reach. It's as accessible to get to the Magic Cafe as it is to get to YouTube. More so because you've got instant access to that, as opposed to watching a 34 minutes of content before getting to the review that he's very unhappy about. Do you see my thing here? Do you see why I'm so confused about this? And Jacob himself, right, has his Facebook page, and on his Facebook page he has friends. He has lots of friends, and some of them are magicians, some of them aren't magicians, and he posts on there regularly links to tricks that are being bought out by Airship Magic. Now, surely that's a form of exposure, you know, on a timeline where the general public can see everything. You're posting links to tricks that people can buy. And I know you know about this because back in 2020, he posted in the Magic Cafe saying, my brother and I own Airship Magic. We also have a Facebook page and numerous forums to sell through. Usually we make product announcements, but sometimes we sell through our own profile. I had a member from the UK do a friend request, and within a few short minutes started to tear my brother a new backside for advertising our products on our timeline. His argument was that my brother was disrespecting the art and committing exposure to non-magicians. No secrets were ever exposed, just advertisements of some for sale and some with links to our website. Are we doing something wrong here? Is he right? Blah, 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 blah. So you know that some people consider that to be exposure, but you still do it. So I don't really get, I genuinely don't get, I couldn't understand why he was so upset about the reviews. And I went back and I watched the whole TCC review, and I didn't see any issues. I didn't see any issues with any of the performances, and I didn't see any issues with anything that I said. And then I thought to myself, well, obviously, this is somebody who's got an axe to grind with me. And I was like, oh, it can't be that. It can't be so petty, pardon the pun. It can't be so pathetic. It can't be just that we had an argument about Lethal Tender and Apparition. That can't be it. So I decided to go back and look at my Facebook messages from Jacob Jr. And I had one Facebook message from 2021, 8th of October 2021. I didn't answer it, actually. I didn't even obviously notice it, but I had a Facebook message. Now, this is back in October 2021, so this is probably a year and a half ago now, something like that, just slightly over a year and a half ago. I'd been doing reviews on my channel in the exact same way that I'm doing them now. No difference. It's not like I've suddenly changed and I've become more exposy, or it's not like I've suddenly become crap and now my performances have become terrible. But he sent me a Facebook message back in 2021, a year and a half ago. Hello, Craig. This is Jacob Jr. of Airship Magic Manufacturing in the US. Just wanted you to know, I love your channels. I'm just trying to figure out how you balance all your time. You're a tank when it comes to new magic and reviews. Keep up the great work, Jake Jr. So a year and a half ago, Jake actually liked me, or he liked my content. So I was like, well, okay, this is really weird now, because he's calling me out everywhere, all over the internet, like everywhere that he can. He's calling me out, saying I'm like the worst person in the world. And now he's just basically trolling me. So I went back on Facebook and I noticed, you know, like when you go on Facebook and you see your notifications, we're not friends, but I went to notifications. He's kind of obsessed with me. He spent like about an hour just going through really old threads on my timeline, laughing at every single comment I put up. Like just laughing at every single comment. You know, like you get lots of notifications and it's this person said this person said that. It was just Jake Jr., Jake Jr., Jake Jr. And just so you know, I have a lot of stuff going on Facebook. I'm getting notifications from things all the time. I manage Ryland's account. He's blowing up on there. I manage all of my company accounts. I'm getting notifications for everything all the time. But all that was coming up was Jacob Jr., Jacob Jr., Jacob Jr. So I'm like, okay, here's this guy that's basic. He was replying to comments on videos. He was replying to comments on posts that other people had commented on posts I'd made on Facebook a year ago, saying that I was just like terrible and I'm like the worst person ever. And I'm like, like, and in one particular post he made, it was when this whole apparition thing was going on, and a friend of mine called Cy Peddle, who's a musician and magician, he said something, and Jake just replied on there like 6 months later and said, "Hey, looks like I'm winning." I didn't even realize there was a competition or a war going on. I really wasn't even aware of that. So I'm like, okay, this guy's going everywhere. He's posting everywhere he possibly can. He's saying really not very nice things about me. There's obviously an issue going on here. And then I went back onto the Magic Cafe and I noticed he'd posted on the apparition thread, again slagging me off, saying, this was like a couple of days ago, saying, first of all, slagging off Roy Coopers. Roy continues to peddle lethal tenders to whoever and says he has the rights to make it. He does not. Craig has already threatened us that if we release Redux, he will have it pulled from the market. Never kind of said that. A coin person has shimmed card wallet. Were already planned, actually. Check out Craig's rant on YouTube, and he's just going everywhere, finding anything that's got any reference to me whatsoever, and he's just like not very happy about me at all. And then I was like, man, what am I going to do about this? And I started planning this video, and I'm like, I really don't want to upset this guy. I don't think he's got a leg to stand on when it comes to looking at my reviews. I've just told you why. And then I found something really, really interesting. So I posted a performance of something that Airship Magic, just before Apparition came out. I posted a performance and mini review of a trick by Airship, and it's the cup and ball, the ball and vase, but with a baseball theme, which I love. I think it's amazing, really good quality. You should go check it out. It's on Airship, and it comes with a little baseball glove. And I performed a full routine. I actually put my own presentation for it. I added some extra moves. I did something a little bit different with it, and he actually shared it on his Facebook page. Now I can't see his Facebook page, but at the time he shared it on his Facebook page. So I went back and looked at this video, and there is a person that's a YouTube channel that's replied on that video called Frederick Ur, Frederickaauer, and this is 4 months ago. So this is when I first posted this video, just before the apparition thing kicked off, right? And Frederick Ur says, "Thanks for the great, unique routine, Craig, Jake Jr." So I know that Jake has got numerous YouTube videos, YouTube accounts. I never noticed this at the time. I didn't even reply to it. But he said, yeah, thanks for the great, unique routine, Craig, Jake Jr. So he's saying, oh, he's sick to death of me exposing magic. He's sick to death of me doing terrible performances. I should go and crawl back into the hole that I've been living under for the last few years. I never should have come back to magic. I'm a cancer of magic, blah, 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 blah. 4 months ago, when I posted a video of his... 4 months ago, when I posted a video of his trick that his company creates, he was like, thanks for the great, unique routine, Craig, Jake Jr. So then I was like, man. So I clicked on the on that YouTube channel and went to see if there were any other posts by that same account, and there's one other post by the same account. And it was on the coin and bottle tutorial. Do you remember right at the very beginning, Jake, in his initial Facebook page post, said, oh, he exposed the coin and bottle and it was disgusting. You remember that? And I told you to put a pin in that. I didn't expose it. I actually, what I did is, and what I try to do on this channel is show people how you can take tricks and make them your own. And this great trick by Gentleman's Magic is a coin in a bowl, where the coin goes into the bowl. And it's just one phase, but it's a very, very good routine. And I've been performing a version of it, which is like a 3-phase routine using a flipper coin. And I did a mini tutorial on it. Now, I was very careful not to expose how the actual bottle works. And I was very kind of loose with my descriptions, but I put across how to actually do it. Again, under the context of, this is really a channel for magicians. Nobody else will find this interesting. And at Blackpool, they said that they loved the video. Gentleman's Magic, by the way, said that they loved the video, just so you know. But Jake thought I was exposing it, and I hate it, and I was scum. So his YouTube account, this Frederick Ur, that he replied, he commented on my video earlier and said, thanks, Jake Jr. That same YouTube account made one more post on the video where I talked about the coin and bottle. And he said, I had ordered one ultimate coin and bottle and found your post here. What a great thought out handling. I use my flipper a lot and I like your idea. Makes perfect sense. It's almost like Bob Klein's Caprento, but 21st century style with your handling, Craig. Thanks, Craig. So this is a guy that literally 4 months ago went on the video that he was slagging me off for and said that he loved the handling. Didn't see any issue with me there. Didn't see any issue with me exposing magic there. Didn't see any issues with me talking about routines. And neither did Gentleman Magic, who absolutely loved the video and sold a ton of them because of my extra handling that I gave people for free. He loved it. And now he's using that as his basis, or one of the points of his Facebook post where he's calling for me to be kicked out of the magic community. This is why I cannot take this guy seriously. This is why I have to make a video like this. I am sick to death of having to be drawn into controversy, but I've had companies that I work with questioning why I did this without checking the review. I've had friends contact me, ask me why I did this without checking the review. I am sick to death of being used in a porn where other people are trying to get attention, and the way that they do it is by dragging my name into it. I work hard. Jake in an earlier post said, oh, Craig brags about all of his success. Well, you know what? Yeah, I do sometimes, because I've achieved a lot, and I believe you should be proud of what you've achieved. I've worked very, very hard to get to the position where I'm now in. And if I brag occasionally, I'm not going to apologize for that. Yeah, I've worked very, very hard to get to where I am. But you know what? I did it without taking shortcuts. I worked my arse off, putting videos up every single day. And it was harder because if somebody else wants to make a name for themselves in this community, they start at zero. I started at minus 100. When I came back to the magic community, nobody liked me. Do you know how many people come up to me and said in the last year, I didn't think I liked you, Craig. And then recently I've realized I did. I do. Oh, you're a different guy. You've changed. And yeah, there's an element of me changing because I was a bit of a twat back then. There is an element of me changing. But it's also about the fact that I've worked really hard to win people's trust. And I am sick of people taking shortcuts to try and get people to focus on their stuff by dragging me into stuff that I've had nothing to do with. It is absolutely ridiculous. I stand by every single one of my reviews. I stand by every single one of my reviews. And Jacob Jr., this is not a rant. This is me very upset and very disappointed that you're trying to drag my name through the mud and you're trying to manipulate public opinion and lying through your teeth in order to make a point. You say, oh, Craig's terrible because he exposed the trick on his review. No, I use the same terminology that TCC used in their ad copy. Oh, Craig's terrible because he exposed this trick on this video. What, the same trick that the company loved that produced the product and that you commented on saying how amazing it was. Yeah, that one? That one? Is that the one we're talking about? Oh, his handling so sloppy all of the time. Oh, really? It wasn't 4 months ago when you were thanking me for my wonderful, unique ideas, was it, Jake? I'm fed up of this. I'm just fed up of this. I just want to produce content that is just positive and uplifting. But you know what? For any of you out there that decide to assassinate my character, understand that my reputation is the single most important thing to me. And I will not stand here and allow people to assassinate it. It doesn't matter whether you're Jacob Jr. It doesn't matter whether you're Michael Webber. It doesn't matter whether you're Tim Trono. It doesn't matter whether you're Luke Dancy. If you want to come at me and you want to discredit me, you better be prepared for a fight, because I have worked damn hard to get to the point where I am right now. And I will not have jumped up idiots come back at me and try to tell me that I'm something I'm not based on lies, innuendo, and conjecture. That will not happen. I have to stand up for myself, because I tell my son every single day to stand up for himself. I tell my daughter every single day that she should stand up for herself. You stand up to people that are lying about you. You stand up to yourself, and you do not allow people to lie about you. You do not allow people to push you down. You do not, you cannot, you shall not let anyone mute your own brilliance. You believe in yourself. You believe in yourself no matter what anybody else thinks. As long as you feel like you're doing the right thing, as long as you feel that you're taking the ethical path, then that's all you can do. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Have blind faith. Work hard. Don't give up. Kick down doors, and then you will be successful. And I have to have that same attitude. I cannot tell Ryland to do that. I cannot tell Thea to do that and then not do the same to other people. That is why I make videos like this. You are a bully, Jake. You have lied and you have manipulated information. You have said one thing and then done something else. You have basically tried to assassinate my character online over a review of your product that I gave a good review for. And you know why I'm annoyed at this point? It's because of this one final thing that I'm going to say to you. The final thing that I'm going to say to you is this. You slagged me off about Apparition. You told me that I don't have any right to release Apparition because you have the rights from Steve Dushek. And the Apparition isn't a big enough change. It's not a big enough change. You can't release Apparition, even though mine's in a purse and yours is in a wallet. Even though my gimmick is completely different, even though I've added multiple routines, I was told by you that that's not a different enough change. That was what you told me. So, if that's the case, then I want you to explain this to me. Because I've got one more little thing to talk to you about. When I posted in Magicians Only, kind of trying to decide what to do about this, somebody commented on the post, and that person is Mir Yedid. Now, Mir Yedid is, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best people in our industry. He is incredible. He is remarkable. And not only that, he has so many ethics. A lot of the things that he brings out are older items from Bob Kohler, older items from so many people. And he's got the rights to the David Roth range. You know, he's just recently bought out the blank coins by David Roth. Before that, he bought out the razor coin by David Roth, the portable hole by David Roth. He's got the rights to all of David Roth's material. And anybody who watches this channel will know how much respect I have for David Roth and how much of a loss he is to this industry. Well, I was kind of upset about what you were saying about me. And Mir Yedid posts and says, just for the record, when this originally came out, not the current incarnation, David Roth was very upset because they took his original effect, premise, sequences, ending, and routine without permission. When he contacted them, they told him to basically go fuck himself because they changed the method and he can't do anything about it. This is from one of David Roth's best friends. This is from somebody who owns the rights to the David Roth collection. This trick that TCC has bought out, I gave it a good review. And I gave it a good review believing that you had the rights to bring this out. But how is this different? How is this any different to what you are accusing me of with Apparition, Jake? How is this any different? See, with Apparition, I used a different gimmick. I used a different gimmick and I used a different premise. The premise was different. Lethal Tenders a transposition. I had coins through table, I had coins in purse, coins under purse, I had a chop cup style routine, multiple mentalism routines. I changed the premise. I changed it into a full act. I changed absolutely everything. And you told me that wasn't enough. And yet your company, and you say that you're all about ethics and you're all about the right thing, your company, what did they do? Well, they've been bringing out the table, which apparently David Roth was very upset about. And I understand why. The effect is exactly the same. What's the effect of David Roth's original? The effect is coins go through a table, right? That's what happens. The coins go through a little doll's table one at a time, and then the vanish of the table through the table. There's no difference with what you've got here. There's absolutely no difference. The difference is the method. You're using a different method, but to achieve the same thing. To be clear, if you had the David Roth style table gimmick the way that David Roth made it, you would be able to achieve the moves that are taught on the tutorial would work as long as you had the coins to go with the magnetics. You would be able to do exactly the same thing. The moves would still work. There'd be no difference. In fact, it might be slightly more reliable. I don't know. So the only difference is the way that the coins are held in position in order for the penetration to occur. That's the only difference. Other than that, it's exactly the same. And apparently David wasn't very happy about that. So why is it okay for your company to release this if you're all about ethics? What is the difference between what has been done to David Roth with the table and what has happened with Steve Dushek? On the trailer, the very last thing on the trailer for the table, it says at the end, thanks to David Roth. Well, based on what I'm reading here, it should say, fuck you, David Roth, right? Because it's not like David Roth gave his permission or his thanks or anything. David Roth didn't give his permission for this. And yet, here it is. And you own the rights to this. Now, it might have been, this might have been a discussion before the rights came into your possession. But if you're as ethical about this stuff as you say you are, if you're as ethical about this stuff as you are with Steve Dushek and Apparition, why aren't you ringing me a yidid and making this right? I'll tell you why you're not. Because you don't care. You have single-handedly been trying for the last few days to post anywhere and everywhere to discredit me and make me look like the bad boy of magic. I'm telling you right now, you don't like it when I brag. I'm telling you right now, Jacob Jr., I do more in 1 week for this industry than you do in an entire year. Don't come and piss on my bonfire. Don't come and piss on my back and tell me it's raining. Don't do that. While you're running around the internet bitching about stuff, and by the way, you do that an awful lot, don't you? You don't believe me? Ask Justin Miller. You don't believe me? Ask anyone else. God, go look at the guy's Facebook page. Every week he's bitching about something. You say I'm bad. Good God. Every single week that you're running around bitching about something and you're making snarky little posts on the Magic Cafe, I'm going out producing videos for this industry for free. I've got multiple messages from people that say that they are performing now because of my content. I've got multiple messages from people saying that they're entering competitions in Magic because of content which I put out for free. Not designed to sell my latest trick, but for free. What are you doing? What are you doing? You say that I should crawl back under my rock where I came from. I never should have come back from the magic to the magic community. I'm a cancer of magic. Craig's been getting away for this for too long. What have you done? What have you done for this industry in the last 2.5 years where I have busted my balls and come rain or shine, I have been able to post videos every single day. Come rain or shine. Christmas, check. Ryland going on Britain's Got Talent and getting through to the semi-finals. Still posted every single day. Check. Ryland on America's Got Talent. Went over to America for 2 weeks. Still got and posted every single day. Check. My wife became very ill. I still posted every single day. I have posted on this channel content for magicians for free every single day. What have you done? What have you done sitting in your ivory tower, turning round and saying, I should crawl back under the rock where I came from? I am no good for this industry. I'm no good for this community. You know what? I make mistakes. I have made mistakes. I will make mistakes. And I will always admit when I've made a mistake. You, my friend, you have made more mistakes in the last 4 days than I have ever, because you're lying and you're tripping up over your own lies. You can't say in one hand, oh, Craig did this to the coin and bottle, and then in the next hand 4 months ago say, oh, I love your video, Craig, it was so good. You can't turn round to me and say that I'm exposing a trick by saying the word slot box when it's on the actual ad copy for the trick. You need to grow up. You need to understand that out of the two of us, I am spending more time and more effort giving back to this community than you have ever done in your entire life. And that goes back to rings and things too. And don't get me started on that, because I've got an email chain that people will never want to see. I am done with you. You want to carry on assassinating my character? Absolutely fine. Be right ahead. After all, this video has probably got you everything that you need, which is a little bit of attention and a little bit of focus. You're desperate for it, aren't you? Well, I will just carry on doing my thing. Oh, Craig's bragging about what he's done. Yes, I am, because I work fucking hard to get to where I am, and I work hard every single day to put content online. Do you know how hard it is to sit here knowing I've got a million things to do and yet still film videos and still post every single day? So next time you attack me, next time you attack my ethics, next time you call for the industry to kick me out, then you better back it up. Because if the industry really wants me gone, if the industry really wants me to leave, then that's absolutely fine. I will go. But it's not your decision. It's not my decision. It's their decision. I am here because they want me here, and I will leave when they don't want me here anymore. And you have no say in it. You have absolutely no say. Now, you want to come back at me with another video, that's absolutely fine. But understand this right now, little man. If you continue to assassinate my character, I will continue to defend myself. And you really better bring a better argument next time, because frankly, what you did this time is you brought a knife to a gunfight. Piss off.